All right, it's that time again, and I'm going to be responding to more comments from my comment section. All right, so the first comment I have for you today is coming from my video, Massachusetts Landlords Dictated When, How, and to Whom They Can Sell Their Properties. And it's coming from a user named Andy St. Clair. And Andy says, "Why don't you quit the landlord game? It's clear you're not having a good time." I don't want you to think that the pessimism that I show in my videos reflects how I feel about being a landlord or being a real estate investor, okay? The honest truth is I love it, okay? I love being a landlord. I love being a real estate investor, but there are a lot of things out there right now that are making it a lot more difficult. And that's why I make these videos, because it's scary thinking that, hey, we could be moving into a system where the government literally wants to take our properties away from us, our property rights away from us, and then, give them to the tenants, or maybe just the government takes over all the housing altogether, right? And so I'm fighting it. I'm just fighting that thing, because when I got started in real estate investing, and it wasn't that long ago, it was less than 10 years ago, but when I got started in it, I was so optimistic and hopeful, and it changed my life. It made everything so much better. It actually got me into that business mindset and made me feel like, hey, I'm actually part of this society and the economy, and and I thought, hey, this is a great way to build wealth. I want to share my experiences with others so that they can build wealth themselves and that they can make their lives better. But when I see all of these negative stories, and especially when they passed that ridiculous eviction moratorium nonsense, right? I thought to myself, am I, imagining this, or is this a true nightmare? I've got to fight against this. I got to get the word out that this is not what people think it is. This isn't something that was made to help tenants, right? This is a pure push towards socialism. I had to get that word out there. And so, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I probably, in my mind, I'm never going to sell any of my properties, for the rest of my life, however long that may be. I'm going to hold on to them and, continue to be a landlord, buy as many more as I feel like buying, and continue to be a landlord. So I'm not getting out of the game, and I'm having a good time. I just, I got to keep fighting against this government overreach and this socialism that's creeping in. Okay, so the next comment I have is coming from Matter Science. And it's a long one, but I'll read the whole thing first, and then I'll talk about my reply. And they say, "I can't remember source, but an article I read on TOPA in DC said that a common tactic when an apartment owner wanted to sell was to intentionally draw out the legal process defined in TOPA as long as possible, even if the tenants had no intention or ability to pay, and other entities were not interested. The goal is to extract concessions from the current owner, rent increase restrictions or guarantees, repairs or updates, or other such things, before stepping aside and allowing the owners to sell, or forcing them to wait the 6 months or whatever it is before they could market it. Also, let's be realistic. Tenants and their advocates who are politically active aren't dumb. They generally know exactly how many of these policies will affect property owners, though they will often downplay or dismiss such issues when promoting their ideas. The problem is the more extreme, and thus loud, among them, hurting the property owner a feature. They consider hurting the property owner a feature, not a bug, and fully desire a move to socialized housing, whether it be by expropriating existing properties or replacing them with new government-built housing. For the more moderate people who support such rules, it's more of a, it hurts my landlord less than it helps me rationalization. Yeah, and that is the unfortunate truth, right? And you did an excellent job there of pointing out things that, I kind of missed about the original article that I covered, okay? So when we're talking about this Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, like you said, right, these tenants, they have no ability to purchase the property, but they want to drag the process out as long as possible for a multitude of reasons, whether it be to get payoffs Okay, because that's what this is. This is payoffs. Okay, they want the owner to pay them, 30, 40, 50,000, however much money. Okay, and that's exactly what the owner is going to do if they want to sell the property. That is awful. Okay, that is plain awful. If you want to sell your property, you got to pay this tenant a big pile of cash. What a joke. Then the other ones are like, hey, even if we don't get paid off, I want to punish that landlord because that landlord is doing well in life and they own property and I hate them because, I don't. That's basically what it is, right? They hate it. They want socialism. They want to push for more socialized government housing, and they want to punish the landlords in any way possible. So yeah, you made some excellent points in your comment. I had to read it because you just did a great job of breaking it all down. Okay, so my next comment came from my video, Oakland landlords forced to register rentals or be banned from raising the rents. And it's coming from a user named Redwood. And it's a pretty detailed comment as well. I'm going to read, go ahead and read it. Another item you may have not mentioned is there is now a vacancy tax in Oakland. If your unit is empty for more than 2 months in a year, you'll have to pay a $5,000 fee. For a condo, it may be $3,500 per year. A piece of vacant property is also $5,000 per year tax or fee. The voters voted this in, and they said the money would go to the homeless. Also, I mentioned on another comment that Oakland has not allowed evictions for over 2 years now, and there is no end in sight on that rule they imposed. And I'm going to stop there. There's a bit more, right? But I wanted to go over that first part, really quickly. And it's just, I can't believe that they have a vacancy tax where they charge that much money. Okay, and I'm gonna look for an article about that because I really am curious. I want to know more about this vacancy tax in Oakland. I want to do a video on it because that is outrageous. I couldn't even imagine being a landlord there and having to jump through those sort of hoops. And yeah, I have mentioned the fact that their eviction moratorium is still ongoing. Okay, I can't remember when it was, but it was less than a couple of weeks ago. I did a video on that very topic right there. So yeah, the eviction moratorium nonsense doesn't stop. We're talking about the Bay Area here, though. This is the capital of the far left. Okay, they don't believe in property rights there. They believe in pure communism. Okay, but let me keep going in your comment here. Also, in all of Alameda County, no evictions are allowed. Oakland also will not let you do a criminal background check anymore on the tenants you need to choose from to live in your property. Also, we used to be able to raise rent based on the CPI, which this year the rent board decided on 6.7%. The city council member who was with Moms for Housing and squatted in a house and took it from a guy who made him sell to a nonprofit. She is one of those who made a new rule that we cannot raise rents based on the old formula, but now there is a 3% maximum rent increase per year or 60% of the CPI, whichever is lower. Alameda County was speaking at their last meeting of putting in a mandatory rent inspection process once per year, inspecting every rental unit. Oakland is in Alameda County. Yeah, and I actually did a video on Alameda County's eviction moratorium as well. So yeah, I did know that Oakland was there. But man, you're describing a nightmare situation. You got city council members who are squatters. You got every anti-landlord piece of legislation, rule, or regulation possible. You've got rent control. I mean, what is the... why are you investing there? The only thing I can think is, yes, there is money to be made. And if you have a big enough emergency reserve and you have enough, money to, hire good lawyers, really good property management, etc., right? You can make so much money on appreciation there. The more money than I could ever make investing here in the Midwest. But, for me, I couldn't even afford to buy a single property there. They're so expensive. Well, I probably could, but it would be, just some crap hole. But the point is, right, that I don't like the stress of having to deal with all of these different regulations and rules, etc. And, I look up to landlords like you who feel like, hey, we can deal with it, because I have heard so many nightmare stories now that it would drive me insane.